Hello! Hi! I am so excited to be here with you today. Today we are going to be doing a live soft structure carrier workshop. This is something I know that several of you have been asking for. You're not sure which soft structure carrier is going to work for you. So just so you know, so for this live video, it was really hard for me to see any comments because I am much further back. So I'm going to show you this. But please do let me know if you can't see the baby. On Instagram, I think you can see the baby, but it's blocking. So anyway, we're going to be showing how to carry in a soft structure carrier. We're going to go over some different types of carriers, and we're also going to talk about how to adjust your soft structure carrier so that you can get the perfect fit for you and baby. One of the comments that a lot of people have is that they maybe have tried one of these types of carriers before, like a backpack style, maybe one that they bought off the rack somewhere, maybe one that's made of like a canvas material or a plastic material, and they weren't sure how to put it on, weren't sure how to adjust it, weren't sure how to get it right, weren't sure the baby was in there safely. And so I just want to talk with you a little bit about the soft structure carriers that we have, what features they have that makes them different and is going to really help you in getting a comfortable fit for you and your child. So I'm just going to go check Instagram real quick because it's actually really bright in here. I do believe you can see it on Instagram though. If not, try to like comment and hopefully I'll be able to see it. I'm definitely distance back, and it is very bright in here and very, very hot in this little room because this little room is actually not ventilated. As part of the shop. The rest of the shop's out there. That is ventilated. Okay, so first things first. So this is our newborn baby demo, Jordan. Jordan is wearing our exclusive baby wearing booties, and we do still have some left. He is wearing them, or she, I haven't quite decided yet. I think he is wearing them in a size that's a little bit too big, but they are still on because Jordan's a newborn doll. Okay, so we are going to show off a couple different style. So I'm just going to show you the main differences, and then I'm going to show you the adjustments using the Lenny Upgrade because that has the most adjustments, and you'll kind of see why. So this is the Lenny Upgrade. This is in Lotus Natural. I think we only have Bohemos left in Lotus Natural because this is gorgeous and sold out quickly. This is the Lenny Upgrade. You can see that I've cinched in this panel, and this is kind of cinched. You can kind of see the fabric bunching too. That's because this is an adjustable panel. That's compared to the LennyGo, and Jordan actually wouldn't fit in the LennyGo. I might show you an example of that, but Jordan actually wouldn't fit in the LennyGo because the LennyGo is made for children who can already sit unassisted, and the panel is just going to be too big for our newborn doll. So that's one of the big differences. This panel is what we call a fixed panel. The panel is sewn. There's no changing the width, there's no changing the height. It is what it is. Your baby fits in it, or they don't. And this is a pretty wide range, but your child will fit in it differently as it goes. For example, a smaller child is definitely going to be knee to knee, and it's definitely going to be arms in. Whereas as you get to the top of this range, around 2 years old, your child will likely just kind of be supported the thighs, not knee to knee, which is okay, especially at that age, and is likely going to be able to be arms out in this carrier. So that's the difference there. And then we do still have a handful of mesh versions. They are going quickly, but the mesh LennyGo has the same sewn-in hood, just with a mesh panel as the regular LennyGo. The mesh Lenny Upgrade has a mesh panel and a mesh hood. Okay, so we're not going to talk about the mesh too much today, but that's just an example of those styles. The preschool carrier I don't have with me right now, but it also adjusts height and width. The height adjustment is a little bit different, but it is an adjustable carrier, not a fixed carrier. So that's why it can go from about 18 months old to 6 years old, depending on the child. Okay, so how do we adjust our Lenny Upgrade carrier to fit a newborn baby? So the first thing I'm going to do for this demonstration is I'm actually going to take this hood off. The Lenny Upgrade and the preschool carrier have removable hoods, which is really nice when you kind of just want to see the panel. So for now, I'm going to take this hood off. I'm going to set it to the side. The first thing you'll do is you will adjust the width. And I'll come a little bit closer so you can see. So the magnetic pocket, which is not on the LennyGo and is on the Lenny Upgrade, it's a magnetic pocket. I'm holding it upside down right now, but a magnetic pocket is going to be toward me because I'm showing you the inner side. So the inner side of the waistband here has a Velcro adjustment. So all you do, one side is in Polish, one is in English. So all you would do is lift this Velcro up and set it to the approximate age. That's just a guideline. It's not a mandate. It's just a guideline. And you would do that on either side. So for this baby, this is a tiny baby. So I'm going to go to the smallest setting on both sides. But you would do that on both sides. And so long as your baby's comfortable, I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it even. I find it tends to be easier to do it even, easier to get them centered and looking right. But I mean, it's really whatever ends up being comfortable. And so comfortable for a little baby, right, is that the panel, the width of the panel, this right here, goes knee to knee. So it supports the child from the inside of the knee, right, to the other. Okay, supports from knee to knee. And it also will go up high enough on your baby's back to support the head and neck and trunk. So for a newborn baby, you would want that panel to be probably about here at the base of the neck. We don't want the panel to be higher than the bottom of the ear. If we go higher like this, we could potentially introduce a asphyxiation risk, right, suffocation risk. We want to be able to see a baby, so we want to support the neck, but we don't want it to go higher up like here. Here is fine. For a child with head and neck strength, we could do arms out. You would want the panel to be no lower than about the armpit. If the panel height is like here, your child could potentially fall backward out of the carrier, okay? So that's what we're looking at for the panel height and width. So I'm going to set my baby down for a second. But basically, if I were having a real child and I wasn't sure how wide I wanted the panel, I would simply set them down like this, and I would hold up the panel like that, and I would kind of get an idea. Does this look like when my child is seated in there that it's going to support them knee to knee? Or does it look like it's going to be too far out? So if I did too far out, for example, on this side, and I held it up to my baby, we can see I can't even, like, it's hard to even see the knee, and the child's leg would be forced straight out. So we don't want their leg to be forced straight out. So I'm going to bring this all the way back in, and we can see that that's going to be a better fit knee to knee. In any adjustable carrier, the smallest sizes are going to be a little bit of the trickiest fit. It's just kind of how they work. Just because the fabric has to go somewhere, so it's bunched up in there. So just keeping your eye on that. All right. So the next thing we want to do is adjust the height, because remember, we want that panel height to be somewhere between here in the armpit to here, to the bottom of the ear. For a young baby like Jordan, we really want it to settle up here, right at the base of the neck. That's how we want to support Jordan. So what do we do to adjust that? The Lenny Upgrade has button adjusters in the center of the panel here, and then two more at the top of the panel, so one on each side. To adjust, it's just like if you have adjustable clothes for your child, a button adjustment. So I'm going to go, whoop. So if I were opening that up, this is typically how they're shipped, with the button at the end there. So you see the whole range out. This baby is small. So you just kind of want to do the same on each side. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I put the button in the fourth hole there. So I'm just going to take this, open it up, and pull. 1, 2, 3. and button on that 4th hole. See how that goes. It's possible if I decide I need to make it tighter, I take baby out, unbutton, and pull a little bit further. So maybe we'll try that for this baby because this baby's small. So let's say I'll try doing that. And you can see how I adjust on both sides. Very simple. I will say this is a fairly well broken in carrier. Newer carriers are going to be a little more stiff. A nice wash is always helpful. Playing with these pieces is also helpful. Just kind of continuing to sort of, you know, you can sort of like just fiddle with them basically, right? Just kind of play around with them. And they'll break in. But washing the carrier is also really helpful for that too. Okay, so then these are unique to the Lenny Upgrade as opposed to the preschool carrier. The preschool carrier doesn't have these top ones here. So you can kind of see my face for a minute on the Facebook one. Okay, so they don't have the top ones here. They're very similar. Okay. What these do is these help to both shorten the panel a bit, but also to help make it a little bit tighter, especially around a small baby's head. So you're more likely to use these with a smaller baby or with a baby that needs a little bit more head support, but this is definitely a good adjustment to do too, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, same thing. We've got our button adjustment. It comes to you all the way out. Okay, I'm going to look on the other side. I see 1, 2, 3. That's how I adjusted that side. So I'll just show you back. Put that back there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now our panel we feel like is probably pretty good. I'm going to lay baby on the panel and get an idea if this is going to be right. Remember, we probably won't get it perfect the first time. That's okay. We're getting an idea. When we lay baby down on the carrier, we want baby's bottom to be at the base of the at the base of the panel, but we don't want it on the waistband because remember the waistband is going to be on you, flat against your torso, right? It's not going to be like encompassing baby where there's nothing under them in this carrier. There are some styles that have apron style. That's not what this one is. This has the waistband and the baby's going to be in the pouch in front of the waistband, okay? So when I set baby up and kind of assess the height, I want to put their bottom right at the bottom there. I want to kind of see that that looks like it'll be knee to knee. When I hold the panel up, it looks like it's going to be about the right place, maybe a touch too high. Maybe I'll try and see if I can pull this in a little bit more. But also remember that they will eat up some of the panel height just from being in there and their bottom out in the panel. So we're really just kind of getting a general idea, and once they're in the carrier, we can sort of assess from there. Okay. So that's sizing to fit our baby. Now what about you, the caregiver? So this carrier has a lot of options for comfort for you as the caregiver. One of the great things to be aware of is that we have what's called PFA, Perfect Fit Adjusters. So if you're not familiar with what a PFA adjuster is, that's this piece of fabric that sits at the top of the shoulder. And so I want you to see what happens when I change this. And this webbing can be stiff when it's new, so just keep that in mind. It's usually shipped with this, what we call closed. So that means this pull tab is pulled and this fabric is sort of just like this loop here that's kind of gets like tucked under, right? What that does is that moves this shoulder, this arm padding, and it moves it up right here to the top of the panel. So if you can imagine if baby is in there, and we'll see in a second, this padding is going to be up on the shoulder, okay? Oop, I don't know if you can see that on the Facebook version. Okay, so this padding is going to be like up on the shoulder. If I do what we call open the PFA, which is I pull that pull tab and I stretch that fabric out so it's laid flat, suddenly, so here's the top of the panel, right? Suddenly, this thin fabric is at the top and this pushes this padding behind us, okay? So this adjustment is purely for your comfort as a caregiver, where you want that padding to sit. Sometimes it affects sort of the pouch a little bit. I find it affects that pouch more in the Abuhimo style, which we do have PFAs there also. But this is a good thing to know for our soft structure carriers, because there are a lot of brands out there that don't have that kind of adjustment, and ours do. Okay, so we can play with that PFA. I'm going to open these up just to see how that feels. I usually recommend you start with these open, because most of us start with them closed because we don't realize they're there. Start with them open and then play around with pulling them and see if you like it better in a different position. Okay. Another adjustment to be aware of is the chest clip. The chest clip is here. We can move by wiggling these sides. We can move where the chest clip sits. That can help us to clip the carry easier on our back, and I can show you a couple ways to do that too, how to get that clipped when it's on. But we can move this up and down until it's at a place that's comfortable for us to reach it with our preferred method while we're alone. This is something a lot of people get nervous about. How do I clip that on my back by myself? This clip will move so that you can put it in the position that's most comfortable for you, okay? Another thing to know about the chest clip: you can loosen it or tighten it. A lot of us will go to put the carrier on and think this has to be tight, right? We've got to keep these straps nice and tight onto us. You don't have to do that. A lot of caregivers find if they loosen this so that it's sitting almost on the edge of the shoulder, that is actually more comfortable, okay? Play around with it and see what's comfortable for you, okay? See what feels good. It's gonna take a little bit of trial and error. You are unlikely to get it perfect the very first time. It doesn't mean the carrier isn't gonna work for you. It just means that there is a ton of adjustment on this, and you will find the perfect adjustment with a few tries, okay? It's not rocket science, you know, but it just takes a little bit of practice. And the convenience and the comfort is well worth a little bit of practice. Okay, so I usually recommend for any sort of settings to keep them looser, right? I mean, if you're pretty petite, you might know that you don't need something completely loose, so it might be a little bit confusing to have it completely loose, but don't set it too tight, because if you set it too tight, it just makes things harder, you know, to try to adjust later. Okay. Another thing to know about this carrier is there is two-way arm strap adjustment. So I'll come up there so you can see that a little bit better. All of our soft structure carriers have this option. What I mean by two-way arm strap adjustment is that we can pull this direction or this direction to tighten the carry. And what that looks like on a person, is, and of course this isn't all the way, is it comfortable for me to pull forward? I can tighten pulling forward. Is it more comfortable for me to pull backward? I can tighten pulling backward. And if that changes on either arm, I can change that. So that gives you the flexibility, whether your child is on your front or your back, to pull in the direction that's most comfortable for you to get the arm strap in a comfortable position. It's a really great feature that not everybody has. So, but all of our soft structure carriers do have that feature for your comfort and convenience. Okay. Another great feature is the ability, and adjustment is the ability to cross the straps. So if you have never thought of this before, you cannot hip carry in a soft structured carrier if the straps can't be removed. So the backpack straps, of course, stay sewed at the top, right? It's still there. But now we've got a long strap. And we can do the same thing on the other side. So now we've got two long straps. This allows us to do several things. One, if we want to, we can pre-clip the chest clip and use this like an H, put it over us, and then clip those in. Okay, that's one thing that helps us do. Another is it allows us to put the carrier on I'll just demonstrate the cross strap for you. Okay. And we'll talk about this pad in a minute, and the waistband adjustment, which is really important and a big thing people miss. So we'll talk about that in a second. But for just even if you're not hip carrying, for a regular cross strap, you would take this, pull down and across, and then you see that clip? You go right in and clip there. And we do the same thing on the other side. Down and across. And we clip that right in. Now we have cross straps. This is great if the ruck straps irritate you, or if you're carrying for a long time and you want to mix it up. You can change that, and then you've got cross straps. And it might be harder to see because I've got it pretty loose. But like if we tighten that up a little bit, hopefully you can kind of see how that's crossing. It's a really nice feature. It just adds more flexibility, more comfort, more options for you. Okay. And it's got this great safety elastic. So all of the buckles here, besides the chest clip, are going to have this safety elastic. This allows the carrier to stay put if something were to happen and the buckle were to malfunction, or let's say a curious older child came up and pushed it and released. This safety elastic is that second pass that's going to allow your child to be safely supported until you are able to fix the problem. Either get the buckle back in or take the child out if there's something like a broken piece or something like that, which is rare, but things do happen. So that's there for you. And we have that on the waistband as well. Very important. You never want to put your waistband on without this extra piece. It's for your safety, for your child's safety. Okay, so our final adjustment we're going to talk about, I think this is the final one before we put baby in and see how we did. Our final adjustment is the waistband, and there's a lot to talk about with the waistband. So one, the lumbar support pad. This is on the preschool and Lenny Upgrade carriers. It is not on the LennyGo. The LennyGo is designed to be a simple carrier. Put it on, go out. That's all it is. The Lenny Upgrade and the preschool carrier are simple too, but there is more adjustment, more options allowing you to do more with it. So that's kind of what that is. This lumbar support pad is removable. If you are petite, you may want to take that out. If you are back carrying, you may not like it on your front, or if you just don't like it, you can take it off, no big deal. You could even put it in that magnetic pocket if you wanted to hang on to it for later. You could also put your hood in that magnetic pocket too, right? So if you don't want to put your phone in there or whatnot. Okay, that's step one. So I'm going to keep that lumbar pad on. I'm going to take this, I'm going to thread it through that elastic safety, and I'm going to buckle it. And I'm going to pull and tighten. All of our waistbands are a minimum of 50 inches for the Lenny Land carriers. The Integras that we are discontinuing, some of them are less, but all of the Lenny soft structure carriers and hybrids have a minimum 50 inches circumference, and we can get those in longer for those who may need one. So what you want to keep in mind for your waistband is a few things. So this is a bit of a scallop. There's more of a scallop in the LennyGo, but there's a little bit of a scallop in that waistband. So just kind of keeping that in mind. We want the waistband to be parallel to the floor, like this. The most common thing that I see people do with this is they, especially with the scallop, they move that down. And I can tell you right now that I immediately feel uncomfortable and almost in pain doing that, okay? This is not good. You will not like it. If you put on your soft structure carrier and nobody helped you to do this, and you were like, oh, I just hurt my back so bad, you probably were doing this. This is what most of us do, this angle. It doesn't feel good. You're not gonna like it. It's not gonna be a comfortable carry. You want this to be parallel to the floor, okay? Another thing that happens is sometimes, especially if we're putting this on low, so this is a small baby, and I know that my small baby needs to be up high. We'll talk about positioning in a second, but especially if you don't know that your baby needs to be up high, you might start low. You've got that dip, and then you might keep it too loose too, and then you've sort of got this like is sort of like the waistband sort of like kind of dips out, and it might be harder to see, but especially postpartum, when we've still got you know, a lot of the baby belly left, it can sort of be at this angle. We really want it to be not only parallel but also flat up and down. And that doesn't mean your body has to be flat, okay? It just means that we're gonna hold this up and down and then tighten. And what that does is that allows additional support, because if this is bowed out, it's not gonna feel very good, and it's almost gonna encourage baby to sit on the waistband, which is not what we want. I'm gonna show you how to adjust that too. We want the waistband to be a separate item, so we're gonna keep that flat and sort of retighten there as needed to keep that as its own entity. We don't want baby sitting there. That's not the comfortable place to put baby. Okay, so those are some of the big things to keep in mind with the waistband. Now we're going to see what baby looks like in there. Okay, take our baby, always supporting the neck. Bring the panel up and around. I still have this set up for cross strap, so I'm going to go ahead and do that again. You don't need the chest clip with the cross strap, so that's another thing people like. I'm going to need to loosen that a bit because I've got a being on me, right? My baby doll, Jordan. Put that through the elastic, and there. Okay, other side, same thing. Grab for it. Right? And I don't usually do cross straps, so this is me just like doing it. Like, that's not my typical thing, so it's not like I'm like, you know, do that every day. It's not a hard thing to do. It's not a hard thing to learn. Okay. And see, that two-way adjustment allows me to pull the direction I need. Okay, so I'm taking a look at my baby. I feel like my baby could almost even go a little bit wider with the panel if I wanted to, but it's pretty close, so it's probably okay. Now we'll look at the panel height for this baby. And this baby's panel height is close to where I want it, but maybe not quite where I want it. And it's close to kiss, so one of the things we want is we want baby to be close enough to kiss. And they are, but this baby could be a little bit higher. And I think if we do that, we're actually gonna bring that panel in a little bit because we're gonna make a deeper seat. So that's the one thing that's great to observe. So this is not a real baby, so it's not like I'm doing things, but the baby is in there. So I'm going to loosen several things up. This is actually how you would set up for nursing too. You just always want to be careful you don't loosen the waistband so much baby could fall out, right? So if we were going to nurse, we would loosen the carrier, adjust baby, get the milk ready. I often find that moving the breast and placing it sort of on top of the cup is a helpful tip. And then stuffing it back in. Move baby to the other side. You could also bottle feed. Again, you would still probably want to loosen so that you can get the bottle in there and sort of hold the bottle like this and help them. You probably would need to loosen and get more comfortable is the point. Anyway, so as you can see, this is not a safe place to keep baby. This is what you will see a lot of people do though. They will put the waistband low on their hips. You see that dip. And you see the baby really get swallowed up by the panel. So I was sort of keeping an eye on that like I would a real baby who is nursing. But if I just sort of set baby in and go, suddenly all of that panel that we had that was in an okay place but not perfect, suddenly it's like really bad, right? Baby's in a suffocation risk. So this is a suffocation risk for multiple reasons. They're too far down. I can't see their airway. They're like in the breast tissue, which is, you know, a lot of extra stuff that they don't need to be in their way. And the panel is now up really high, and they're almost like flattened against me. This is a really common problem, especially with little babies. One of the easiest ways to fix it is to bring that baby all the way back up. Okay? With an older child, you may actually find the reverse. You may find you need to lower them because up higher is making too deep a seat. And it's making the panel too, it's making the panel too low, and you actually need them a little bit lower. But for a tiny baby, having it higher has moved that panel. I don't even think I touched that panel when we were doing that. The act of moving baby higher made that panel right about where I'd like it. And how to get it a little bit more is I'm going to lift baby's little bottom out into there. Did you see how I did that? I took this waistband. So if you saw I did that, I took this waistband, I brought it up so it's more parallel, right? And I brought it flat, and I brought this baby's bottom out. We want baby out in the panel. We don't want them on the waist, we want them in the panel. And now all I have to do is tighten that waistband again. And now look where the top of our panel has gone. Look where it is. I would say that's pretty good. In a real baby, you want to assess. It might be a touch too high. If it is, see if we can get baby out in the panel a little bit more. See if there's a way to eat up a little bit more height. But I would say this is pretty good, and as long as we're able to monitor that airway, as long as we're able to hear that breathing, we see that the airway is clear. Baby's close enough to kiss. This is a good fit. We take a look at that panel. It might be a little bit. That's so hard because of the way the camera mirrors it. We want to make sure that we are, we want to make sure we're about parallel. And I think I'm a little bit, I think I'm confusing myself right now. But we want to make sure this is about parallel to the floor. We don't want this to be dipping. We want it to be up. Yeah. So those are the basics. I think I twisted that too, which is all right. Those are the basics. That is how you get baby in. That is how you adjust. Let's say I don't like how these PFAs feel. Do this. And also sometimes this affects a little bit of the fit of the panel too. So play with it. But look, now our sweet baby Jordan is hanging out. Look, and I pulled this a little bit, and you see how that panel went just where I wanted it. Okay, so it's a good thing to try. It's a good thing to play with. This is a really nice, really comfortable carrier. It just takes a little bit of learning how to adjust all of the pieces. I hope that is helpful to you. With our LennyGo, this is the simpler version, okay? No adjustments for the height and width. The hood is sewn on, okay? No pocket, no lumbar support pad. This is called the LennyGo because it is the get up and go carrier. However, it still has PFA adjusters. It still has the ability to cross the straps, allowing you for cross strap or hip carries. And I like hip carries better in the LennyGo than the Upgrade, just personally. I think they work a little bit better. Okay. Still have the two-way arm adjustments here. Just is a different style. It's just simpler, but you can still be very comfortable. I love the feel of this fabric. This is such a nice fabric. Still very comfortable, still very cozy. These are nice and breathable carriers. I love the colors, I love the patterns. We've got a bunch of different textures, and we have tons of beautiful wintry items too. So definitely check those out. If you have questions about how to fit your soft structure carrier or any carrier that you have or are looking at, if you're not sure if it's going to be right for you and your baby, please feel free to reach out to us. Messenger is the fastest way to get hold of us, and we are so happy to be helping you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.